You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Rodrance for Black and White Sports. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit subscribe. As always, we appreciate you guys watching. And now we've got an interesting circumstance that is happening in the WNBA. Now, this possibly is the most woke league in the entire professional sports landscape, but they're getting called out now by arguably one of the most woke, progressive, mainstream media outlets in the entire country, the New York Times, and they're getting called out for their silence over Brittney Griner having been arrested and right now is currently detained in Russia. They're getting called out because they're usually at the forefront of all these social causes. These players love to run their mouths. They certainly weren't silent about things like Black Lives Matter or Donald Trump. But when it's come to Brittney Griner, somebody has put a muzzle on them, and now they're getting called out by these woke progressives over at the New York Times. We got some woke on woke crime going on here, and frankly, I'm here for it. WNBA strikes an uneasy silence over Brittney Griner. Interesting. Advisors are taking a discreet approach in negotiating Phoenix Mercury Center's release from Russia detention, putting her anguished teammates in the league in a discomforting position. When will Brittney Griner be set free? That painful question hangs over the Phoenix Mercury, just as it is likely to hang over the coming WNBA season. Of course, let's not forget the league is in existence because the NBA helps fund the league in order to keep it going. The television ratings on this league are terrible. Last week, at a home preseason game pitting the Phoenix Mercury against the Seattle Storm, hip-hop blared. Gyrating dance squads revved up the crowd. Was there a crowd? When the teams took the court, the public address system crackled with the names of some of the most well-known players in women's basketball: Sue Bird, Breanna Stewart, Tina Charles. They were joined by the Mercury's 39-year-old virtuoso, Diana Taurasi. She's 39 years old, wow, who was in street clothes for the preseason game, but who plans to be ready for when the regular season begins. Griner, the Mercury's 7-time All-Star center, will not. Since February, she has been in Russian custody after customs officials at Moscow area airport said they found vape cartridges containing hashish oil in her luggage. Guys, this is a very, very serious offense in Russia. Her glaring absence struck an awkward note. On the mammoth screen looming over the court in Phoenix, Griner's image flashed alongside her teammates in promotional videos. Dozens of fans in the crowd wore Mercury's jerseys emblazoned with her name and number 42. This was the first time the Mercury had played since Griner was taken into Russian custody, yet there was no official acknowledgement of her absence by players, no moment of silence to reckon with the collective anguish for one of the league's most beloved performers, who is known to teammates and fans as BG. Interesting. The silence is by design. The WNBA is perhaps the most progressive and outspoken league in sports America. Its players have long taken public stances on issues such as race, gender, equality, politics, and reproductive rights. In the days after Minneapolis police officer and the George Floyd incident, that's how I'm going to word that, WNBA players boycotted games. During the early days of the pandemic, they wore black shirts that said "Say Her Name," referring to Breonna Taylor, a 26-year-old black woman shot and killed by police in Louisville, Kentucky. Let us not forget a police officer also got shot, and they had to rush to save his life. But with Griner detained in Russia, her whereabouts and specific details on how she is faring relayed only to an inner circle of friends, family, and advisors, the league is taking a stealthier approach. Instead of raising a ruckus, the players are quiet. Instead of clamoring for change, they keep their mouths shut. They are following the lead of Griner's advisors, who have determined it is best to let behind-the-scenes diplomacy work. With Griner facing up to 10 years in prison, they have reasoned the wisest move is to keep a low profile. At the moment, it makes sense, the reasoning goes, not to give Vladimir Putin leverage in using Griner as a bargaining chip. Quote, "We are absolutely outspoken about everything that we can possibly be," Mercury guard Kia Nurse said, who entered her fifth year in the WNBA and said the team's training facility last week. "But we are also very good at admitting we don't know everything and we are not experts on every topic, but yet y'all run your mouth continuously." Quote, "We're following the process," Nurse said before noting the week's hopeful news. On Wednesday, the State Department announced that former U.S. Marine Trevor R. Reed had gained his freedom in a prisoner swap after nearly 3 years of Russian detention. Among the Mercury players, Reed's return delivered a fresh dose of optimism that Griner could be next. But the deal for Reed also sparked renewed calls from activists outside her camp who wonder aloud whether enough is being done to bring Griner home. Why, they ask, wasn't she included in the swap? Why is everyone in the league remaining so circumspect? Wouldn't loud and visible protest for Griner help pressure some action? In Phoenix, more than a few fans told me they didn't feel Griner's case was getting enough attention, or that if an NBA star were in Russian custody waiting for a hearing, as Griner is, and facing a possible lengthy prison sentence, as Griner is, the calls for release would be thunderous, insistent, and nonstop. Would they? Quote, having her missing feels like we are missing a limb. Dashius Johnson, an ardent Mercury fan who wore a Griner jersey, and the way the team and the league remains so silent makes it worse. There was not one word about her at the beginning of the game. I'm really upset about that. What if Devin Booker was in Russian custody? She wondered, referencing the high-scoring guard for the Phoenix Suns. Quote, if this was Booker and not gay, 6'9" black female. If this was someone from men's sports, I think they would have something in his honor, even a moment of silence. Johnson seemed emotional about Griner as players' teammates looked stricken with sadness every time I brought up Griner's name. Still, the Mercury players stuck to the script. They spoke of how much they love BG, how special she is, how she is like a member of the family, constantly in their thoughts and prayers. That's my sister. I love her, Skylar Diggins Smith, who won gold alongside Griner at last summer's Olympics in Tokyo. Diggins Smith's straightforward words were weighted as her voice quaked with frustration and anguish shown in her eyes. She continued, I think about her every day. I can't wait till she is back with us. We are in uncharted territory as the season begins. The WNBA is still wrestling with ways to honor Griner that won't hurt her cause. The league's team plans to expand Griner's Heart and Soul charity, which gives shoes to those in need beyond Phoenix. Other ideas are in consideration too, but fans like Johnson and her girlfriend, Autumn Gardner, want boldness from the league that has become known for it. As the preseason game against the Storm would work towards a conclusion, a 4-point Mercury loss, Gardner did not say Griner's name. She yelled, BG. She chanted loud and insistent enough to reach the court, BG, BG, BG. So, we have the New York Times, and I guess WNBA fans that are none too happy with the WNBA not taking a larger stance on this Brittney Griner issue. In fact, just flat out saying that if this was a male player, here we go with this gender thing again, but if there was a male player, there would be more outraged. But look, they're saying the best thing for her cause is to not make it a big deal. But it is interesting because the WNBA is faced with a real dilemma here. This is going to get more and more attention. Not Brittney Griner, but the silence over Brittney Griner while the season is going on. This is going to be an ongoing story involving Griner because the WNBA has brought this on themselves. They've went out of their way to be so vocal about all these different social causes, so vocal about all these different things going on in the world, much of which they don't know anything about, and now they're going to be silent on Brittney Griner. This is going to be interesting going forward to see how the WNBA plans on handling this. I don't know. Tell me what you think, black and white sports fans. The league's got a Brittney Griner problem right now. When the New York Times is writing articles about why isn't more being done and WNBA fans are noticing that, they're about to have a PR issue. Peace. I'm out. Till next.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.